What is up, guys? Welcome. Crypto FUD. And let's jump right into this. What is going on, guys? Hope you guys are surviving out there. I know it's been rough. No Diddy. I know it's been a hell of a week considering last week and still going through this week. We still really haven't seen any kind of a bounce as of now. Let's go over everything. Let's talk about everything. Hope I can give you guys a little bit of hopium. Let's do this. So Bitcoin right now is sitting at around 110,985. We just broke below the 111,000 mark. The rest of the market, Bill, what's going on, brother? The rest of the market, as far as like the stock market, doing great. Gold still up, actually breaking all-time highs again, now at $4,200. This is not coincidental, and I'm going to just jump right into this. The fact that Bitcoin is necessarily having a rough time and gold has been necessarily breaking all-time highs. This is not coincidental, guys. Basically, what I'm getting to is you're seeing a lot of fear in the market as of now. Obviously, given what we saw last week with the tariff scare, the big liquidation, that's going to go down in history for crypto. People are looking for safe havens right now to put their money. The stock market, like I said, not doing bad today. S&P up 1%, NASDAQ's up 1.3%, Dow Jones up a little over 0.5%, and the dollar is now breaking below 99, back at $98. So with that being said, you can see the stock market had a little bit of a bounce, a retracement, because last week we technically were above where we're at right now, but the stock market did sell off pretty bad come Friday afternoon, this past Friday. Then the following day, that's when we saw that big liquidation in Bitcoin. Or actually, later on that day is when we saw, after the markets closed, the big liquidation in Bitcoin. And we still, from today, from last week, we still have not seen any kind of a major bounce. We did see, obviously, that drop down to about 102,000. Like I said on the last stream a few days ago, some exchanges were saying 107. Some were saying 105. On here on TradingView, it's saying 102. We'll run with that. But since then, we did see somewhat of a little bit of a bounce. A nice 14% bounce from that dramatic drop from Bitcoin. But since then, we have been basically painting, this is on the hour, we have basically been painting these M patterns. You can see, right? We have one top, two top, down. One top, two top, down, right? And that basically, what that's telling me is that right now the markets, local or temporarily right now, are basically bearish. I mean, there's no other way to say it, right? If we were painting W patterns, the opposite, obviously, you would be seeing a lot of movement towards the upside. But the fact that we're seeing these double tops, and really, I mean, like I said, we got rejected at 15.7. We got rejected at basically 113.6, right? And then now, like I said, we're kind of teeter-tottering around that 111,000 mark, trying to hold some support somewhere around that 110.5, and where we've kind of found, whenever we did retrace, we did find some support somewhere around 109,400. So as of now, I'm gonna just be honest with you guys. It seems like right now, this split second, the markets for crypto are bearish, right? And I said this last time. What's going on, brother? Compose. I'm trying to. Who is that? Did you change your name? I'm trying to think. Is that I'm trying to think. I know all my members. I'm trying to go by your picture. But just to get back on topic here, Squirrel. Bearish right now, right? I said this back on Friday, with the market seeing such a dramatic liquidation. I think right now for crypto, because we're seeing a retracement, we're seeing a rebound in the stock market, but it hasn't really rebounded in crypto because the confidence level in crypto right now is basically just shot. And you can see off the fear and greed index, we're still in fear, right? So you can see a lot of money exited the crypto market. Some of it came back, but a lot of it did not. A lot of it did not. So for right now, temporarily, for the time being, until we can kind of, I think it's going to take probably a few days, most likely next week, maybe the following week. I really do think what we're setting up for is we'll probably have some boringness on the markets for right now, right? But at some point, we are going to see the market start picking back up, given that we have 2 weeks until the next Fed meeting. And we saw Jerome Powell speak yesterday. I didn't go live, but we did see him speak yesterday, and he was pretty dovish. Didn't really indicate that for sure we were going to see a rate cut, but we all know it's coming. He definitely did not sound hawkish whatsoever. He definitely, came out with a lot of just, the same kind of talking that he normally does, but really just indicating that the labor market really is weak, and it's most likely going to continue to get weaker in these next few months, given with AI and a lot of layoffs potentially on the horizon. So I do think this is going to be probably our savior, where we're going to start seeing the markets bounce in the next few days, if not next week, because we have that coming in about 2 weeks from now. Going over to Ethereum right now struggling. Same thing. You can see the same thing. M patterns forming or have formed for Ethereum, right? You can see them both right here. These double tops. Ethereum, same thing. But if you have to remember, we're looking at the hourly, right? So we're not looking at such a big time frame. So these are all small temporary things right here. These M patterns, you can see they point towards the downside, and then some kind of a support level. We kind of do it again. We are making lower highs as we continue, but like I keep saying, at some point I do see that we're going to see some kind of a bounce. Most likely it's going to be a bounce that no one is even anticipating, because if you notice, we're in fear. The markets are scared, right? 2 weeks ago, we're going into Pumptober. Everybody was expecting the markets to run, and what happened? We saw the opposite. Now everybody's thinking the markets are done. Crypto's done. We topped out. What do you think is going to happen, right? I guess we're going to have to start going against the tide. So if everybody is bullish, we're going to be slightly bearish, anticipating some kind of a drop. And when everybody is bearish, we're going to be anticipating some kind of a big run, because it seems to be working in those favors. Looking at the crypto bubbles for today, you can see across the board, kind of a mixed breed. We have this Chain Opera AI up 131%. These are the top 100s. XPL or Plasma up 18%. But for the most part, some of the projects are up, 4 or 5%. But you can see a lot of the market's still down, especially alts. Alts are down like crazy. Let me pull up Dominance real quick. We're not going to be on here for too long, guys, so just bear with me. You can see we did see during that big liquidation, Dominance just skyrocketed, right? Skyrocketed. I've never seen something like this before. Massive run up to about 62% in Dominance for Bitcoin. But you can see for Dominance, right, there was almost like a double top that formed, and it started to come down. But now you can see it's starting to try to find some support, and it's maybe going to trade sideways for right now while the markets are uncertain and uneasy right now. So this is why you're not really seeing a big bounce in alts whatsoever. Dominance has, kind of ran back up towards that 60% mark, and it looks like it's trying to hold for now until further notice. So again, like I said, fear, we're in fear right now. Typically, like I always tell you guys, fear is usually the time that you want to, and I'm not giving out financial advice, but usually is the time that you want to take advantage of all the fear. Buying in at some of these prices are, these are some of these prices we haven't seen in a very long time. Even if, you're just buying something short term, I do think that some of these buys right now for DeFi and for regular central exchange, big projects, they could be quick moves where you buy in on some of these projects, especially during that big dip, and easily make a quick 40, 50, 60% off of some of these projects. So the big Bitcoin short, rumor mill. Let's see here. So rumor mill suspects links to the U.S. government insiders. So real quick before we even talk about this, I don't want to beat a dead horse about that stupid what we saw on Friday. It's just like, it sucks. We need to move on as a community. But I did say, because I was mad Friday, right? I'm sure all of us were, that I wanted to know what the hell was going on. And they're starting to figure out, I think, what's going on or whatever. So we're just going to read this article. I have not even read through this article whatsoever, so I have no idea. So the big Bitcoin short, a trader shorted Bitcoin minutes before President Trump's tariff posts and booked about 160 to $200 million now. Before it was 104, now it's jumped up to $200 million in profits that this person made, right? Or whoever, this company, whoever did this. A crypto investor who helped frame the story by tracing wallets and proposing that Garrett Jin could be a front for a broader network, has now stepped back, citing safety concerns. I suspended work on Bitcoin short case after unsustained allegations that the trade involved a network linked to World Liberty Financial. Ooh. Before stepping back on October the 14th, I advanced a view that the wallet tied to Garrett Jin may be conduit for information moving from insiders to traders able to build favorable positions around the policy timing. Garrett, I quote, Garrett doesn't seem to be the main actor. He is probably just a frontman, but this was the starting point for tracking the real insider trading ring. The crucial information given to the HL whale most likely comes from a group of insiders who have long been exploiting confidential information from the White House rumors and official announcements ahead of time. The names raised include World Liberty Financial, which that's Trump's company, right? The financial co-founders Zach Widoff and Chase Harrow, who are linked to Trump Jr., and the continuation that a leaker may have passed information to parties other than Jin, reinforcing the front hypothesis. I haven't said that word in a while. A 30% sell-off on the WLFI token hours before the tariff announcement, at a time when Bitcoin dropped just 3%, has also raised eyebrows within the industry. And I did notice that too. When I opened up a long on WLFI, I noticed that this was before the crash, that this shit like cratered out of nowhere. And I was like, holy crap, it like dropped down to like 10 cents. It usually hovers around 20 cents. I don't even know where it's at right now. But I was like, let me definitely open up a short. And you know what happened? Is when a long. When I opened up the long, I ended up like coming back like hours later, and I got liquidated, right? And I checked, and I should not have been liquidated, but they've already came out with a lot of stuff that a lot of these perpetuals and swaps and stuff like that, they basically were all shut down for a while, and they liquidated everybody, whether you were in profits or if you were supposed to be liquidated. Everybody lost their funds. Luckily, it wasn't such a big position, but that was another reason why I was pissed off, because I come back and I'm like, where's my position? And I'm looking, and I had to go into history, and it was like said I got liquidated. I was like, there's no way in hell that I got liquidated. The price would have had to gone down so bad for me to get liquidated. And I checked the numbers, and I was like, it just didn't line up, right? And who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters? I'm saying, like, who are you gonna call, right? These swaps, you're gonna call their hotline and say, hey, I think there was a mistake. No, they freaking took the money and ran with it, and it's just like, it sucks that shit like that happens. I think that's the biggest, not the biggest, but one of the things that a lot of people are scared now, seeing that, with exchanges. We've already known when shit gets hot, exchanges, they'll basically shut down temporarily, whether it's because of congestion or they're actually shutting down. But now you're talking about swaps, perpetual leverage, stuff like that. It's not safe if there is a black swan event. And I think the messed up thing is like, let's say you had a short open before this drop, right? You just randomly was like, you know what, I'm opening up a short. I feel like the market's gonna, probably come down. You still got liquidated as well. Like, they took everyone's money, everybody. So let's see here. So just reading off of here. So this is, I guess, the guy's name, EYEI, said that he would cease further publication, stating that he had drilled too deep and left open the question of who, if anyone, assess non-public policy details. He's basically saying that he's fearing for his life. He was digging into, probably jumping in somewhere where he probably shouldn't have been, or maybe he should be, but people don't want him to be. Now, I'm going to say this, And I don't get political whatsoever, but with Trump and his people, they're new to crypto. They know crypto is very transparent, but I don't think they understand what us crypto people do. We can see all the transactions. We can link everything. They can't hide any of these transactions or where this money's coming from. We knew we were going to figure out where it came from. Now, these are all allegations, but you can see off of this guy basically figured out that it came from World Liberty Financial. And now he's backing up saying, you know what? Actually, I don't even want to be involved in this. Forget I even said any of this stuff. Did he get a phone call? Did he get a visit? Did they tell me he was going to be swimming with the fishies? Who knows? Who knows? So let's see here. The dispute grew out of the trade that shorted Bitcoin on Hyperliquid minutes ahead of President Trump's October 11th tariff post. We already know the story. During the move, the liquidation across the venues reached about $19 billion. That's how much money was actually liquidated. Around $19 to $20 billion in 24 hours. With Hyperliquid reporting a broad account losses. According to CoinGlass, the wipeout ranked at the top of historical single-day dollar totals. CoffeeZilla has also analyzed that the trade, with his focus centered on the final add to the short 1 minute. I'm not even reading the article, but I already saw this 1 minute before the tweet was announced. The guy, whoever, put in their final short, and then literally 60 seconds later, Trump tweets about the tariffs, right? And that's basically what the article says. A 1 minute gap that continued to frame the debate over what the trader knew and when the position was sized. Jin has rejected the insider narrative and issued repeat denials. He said that the capital belongs to clients. His team runs nodes and provides in-house insights, and he has no connection with the Trump family. He also criticized Binance co-founder Xi Jinping, right? Is that Chang? Oh no, that's China. Co-founder Chang, I don't mean to mispronounce anyone's names here. Changpeng, for amplifying I's intentional thread to a large audience, thanking CZ for the sharing my personal and private information, and maintained that the short was a macro and technical call rather than a trade on non-public cues. Wow. And just kind of scrolling through, the wallet ascribed to Jin has not gone quiet. October the 13th, the account added a new Bitcoin short with roughly 496 million notational at a 10x, with a stated liquidation level near 124,270. Trackers show several millions of dollars of unrealized profits, with spot between $114,000 and $117,000. Two other hyperliquid whales opened about $182 million and fresh shorts across the major and large cap altcoins during the same window. So again, guys, same shit, right? I said we're probably going to be bearish, going into these next few days. I mean, it's the same thing. It is really the same thing. We even on Twitter. They're monitoring. Obviously, we always see this shit, and there was a big seize. I think the government just seized $14 billion worth of Bitcoin, if I'm not mistaken. But you can see here, just an hour ago, Bitcoin whale opens 5x leverage. This is a completely different story. 5x leverage short worth $140 million on Bitcoin. Liquidation prices at 137,700 right there. So you can see whales are piling in on shorts right now. Piling in. They're holding shorts. They're piling in. So, like I keep saying, I would probably go with that we're probably going to be bearish for the next probably week or two, getting into the Fed meeting that we have in about 14 days from now. So, but on other news, other than Bitcoin, right? U.S. stock soars as the dollar slips amid a Fed cut bets. So the U.S. stock rose on Wednesday with the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ Composite itching higher amid major banks' earnings and fresh bets on further rate cuts by Federal Reserve. Why are the stocks up today? So gains across the Wall Street followed a bullish flip in global stocks, largely by investors bet that the Feds will cut interest rates at the next meeting. Fed Jerome Powell's dovish tone on yesterday, aided market sentiment, with the U.S. central bank chief noting that the end of the Fed's shrinking of its balance sheet was close. U.S. stocks also showing resilience as Wall Street welcomes strong earnings from banks. Most of the top financial institutions have so far posted robust earnings as the season kicks off with a solid start. So you can see, obviously, that's why the stock market is doing really well. Earnings, they're not really dealing with massive liquidations, fraud going on as far as with the stock market. So confidence in the stock market is still there. Obviously, with the S&P and NASDAQ and Dow Jones not far from all-time highs. Gold, like I said at the beginning, gold is rallying as well. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of money that has temporarily exited Bitcoin and the crypto space is pumping gold right now, right? They're probably pumping gold as of right now because gold seems to be on some kind of a nice run. A lot of people are basically bullish on gold right now. I anticipate that gold most likely is going to see a massive correction at some point. I don't think it's going to be today or tomorrow or anything like that, but at some point I do see gold having some kind of a nice correction coming up in the next few weeks, if not the next few months, in my opinion. So, and with that, you can see we have flipped back, obviously, into the red for October. Hold on one second. I'm going to blow my nose. Whew. My allergies are getting to me down here. We haven't had any rain over here in my side of Florida. So it's like when I'm outside with my dog, my nose is just like gets all stuffy. I literally just got home a little while ago. But to come back, October, obviously, we are in the red. September was in the green. You can see 5%. October has dipped down to about 2% so far. Crazy, because you can see historically, October is usually always a solid green. Always, right? Out of 12 years, only 2 of them so far. Now, out of 13 years, out of 12 years, we're technically one of them now is in the red, but we still have a half a month, and we're only 1.9% down in the red for now. So I do expect, as we can get this shit past us, the stupid liquidation, and it's not going to be good if they find out that anything was, like we just read, anything had to do with World Liberty Finance. It's not going to be good as far as confidence in the markets. But the one thing that I will say from everything that we talked about today, guys, if you're listening, if you're watching this later, is we just talked about whales, right? The whales right now, they have shorts open on Bitcoin. Follow the whales, right? Obviously. Unfortunately, right now, this market that we're in, we're in a manipulated area right now where the markets are just so heavily manipulated. We can see, obviously, from what happened Friday, right? I still do believe that we're going to finish strong. This really doesn't take me off of the 4-year cycle as of now. We're still there until proven wrong. But the point of what I'm getting to is temporarily for this next week or two, until going into the Fed meetings, we're probably going to see those longs or those shorts stay open, right? Follow them. I might even open up a short just to have it there, right? Just in case if we do see a little bit more downward movement, I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm going to follow the whales, but I guarantee as we stream for these next week or two, we're going to see a flip. You're going to see these positions get closed, and you're going to see them starting to open up longs because we're going to be going into the Fed meetings. The Feds just announced yesterday that they're going to be basically they're going to stop reducing their balance sheets, right? They're going to stop selling off bonds and all that good stuff. They're going to start obviously continuing to reduce interest rates. The markets are going to start moving towards the upside, whether these whales are here or not. As far as like these tweets and stuff from the government and from Trump particularly, I anticipate that he's probably going to be moving towards being more bullish because he does not want these markets to do bad. When he tweets shit like that, not only does Bitcoin drop, but the stock market goes down. And I guarantee he does not want that. He looks at the stock market as how he's doing as a president, right? He looks at it as he's always done that. So betting against him, or betting against the stock market, and really, like right now, I have massive positions in the S&P. When we saw these dips, I was kind of like biting my nails. I was like, shit, should I have sold off? I still have my positions open, but I do plan on selling off soon, right? But I do think that we are probably, like with the S&P, we're probably going to get close to $7,000 before we top out. And I still do think that we have a big move with Bitcoin and alts. We have not seen nothing yet for the alts. I do believe they are going to run, but I think it's going to be quick, swift, and you better take profits. That's me. That's what my opinion is, not financial advice, but because we're in October, right? We're halfway in October. If that 4-year cycle is going to play out, we literally have like 6 to 8 weeks tops. 6 to 8 weeks tops. So that's pretty much it. So just run with the whales, guys. Keep your heads up. We'll be fine. It's obviously a bad day today in crypto, but the stock market and everything else is doing fine. So we should follow behind, with all that. Again, like I said, the Bitcoin is down because of confidence right now. Confidence is down like crazy because of what we saw Friday. We weren't going to just bounce right back from Friday like nothing happened. That was a black swan historical event, and as news is getting out of where this shit came from, as far as who sold and who opened up those positions, I feel like it's probably not going to be something we want to see, because it's going to lose. You're going to see a lot of confidence being lost in crypto right now. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to leave it be. I know it was a short stream. We'll be back here tomorrow. Hopefully in these next few days we'll have some green days ahead of us, all right? And we'll get back that happiness that is lost for right now. I'm just kidding, guys. But be safe out there. I'll see each and every one of you guys again, all right?